in terms of how we position ourselves. We're the world's first public value business school, which means as a business school we care as much about delivering social value as economic. So this means that we don't just want to make everyone more money, we want to actually care about the type of businesses that we help, how we help society at large, so that we're providing ethical value as well as monetary value.
What we're trying to build is a greater understanding of executive education and the opportunities that it brings within the business school. We are looking on one side to generate greater access for our researchers, and beyond that, clearly we have objectives of impact and generating revenue.
The area where we need to strategically grow and enhance is actually the cross-disciplinary executive education. For example, programs like leadership with healthcare, leadership on gamification of leadership requires, with the healthcare one, we would have to work with the College of Health. With the gamification of leadership, we'd need to be working with things like computer sciences, and we haven't quite got there yet. But strategically, as a school, it's important. But for a university, it's actually important to be able to offer multidisciplinarity in executive education.
And what we find is that executives are interested in doing executive education with universities because they want to feel some connection to that university. They don't want some purely corporate training experience. They can go elsewhere for that. So some sense that they're in a university as opposed to some completely separate space is useful. However, they don't necessarily want to turn up and have the same experience as an undergraduate. They also want something that feels a little bit more like a country club sort of experience. So I think trying to find some sort of balance between those two different issues is very important.
We're a small unit based within Cardiff Business School, which is one of the key schools within a college, Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences, which is one of the 3 colleges within the whole Cardiff University.
The business school very clearly identifies executive education as a core within it. It just happens to be, in old-fashioned terms, the third stream of the business school is executive education.
So to help tell that story, part of what we're doing in terms of strategic positioning is following some in-depth market research that we conducted last year, is to figure out not only what are the resources that we have within the business school, but also what resources do we need to bring in from consultants and other business schools, but also who do we need to bring in from our strategic partner organisations or other colleges within the university that can help us look at the world differently in a way that delivers value to potential clients.
Our role is to be very customer sensitive and responsive. So we have to listen to external organisations' wants and needs, and then we have to move and deliver those needs. Wider universities used to a more considered, thoughtful approach to delivering education programmes. We need to be fast. So I think that's how we differentiate ourselves within the school and the university.
In the exec area, you've got to make an impact, and you've got to make that quick, and you've also got to sustain that impact. Because if you're not engaging the people who are in the room, they're going to tell you at the coffee break, or probably even before, that what you're talking about isn't going to help them do their job better on Monday. So therefore, you've got to identify the faculty who've either got deep credibility due to the quality of their research, but also their credibility in front of an audience in terms of the stories that they can tell, which demonstrates why the research is appropriate and applicable to particular organisations. So we have to break things down. So we're designing a profiling process at the moment in terms of to identify the faculty that've got the appetite to do this sort of work, and also those that have the capabilities of doing this sort of work. We similarly need to go through a profiling process with potential external providers who we want to have on our team as well.
There is a natural tension, I think, in a business school between those staff who may come through a traditional route, which is They come up, they do their undergraduate, they do their postgraduate, they do their PhD. They may dabble a little bit, or maybe spend 2 or 3 years in industry, compared to those academics that spend maybe 50% of their working life in business and then have joined a higher education institution slightly later. The two types generally do support each other. And we've noticed that since we've established our executive education team, there is now more engagement between these two factions, and actually they're becoming more of a community of academic staff. Some just happen to be practice orientated, others happen to be more sort of academically orientated. But when they're together, it's been pretty seamless now.